Welcome to another episode of Strictly Business Unscripted. I'm your host, Keandra Jones. This podcast educates, ignites inspiration, fosters encouragement, and paves the way for growth among small businesses and the overall Oak Cliff community. But first, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Dallas Zoo, Home Care Network, Breakfast Brothers, and Serve Pro. Thank you for your support. Now, let's get into it. Today's episode is titled The Powerful Tool of Access. Today, we have an incredible guest this morning. His name is Curtis Lee Corbins, who was born in Lake Charles, Louisiana. He made his way to DFW in this area in 1985 and has been transforming lives ever since. He is a devoted father who has a passion for uplifting the disenfranchised. He is on a mission to help people move from poverty to prosperity, ensuring that absolutely no one is left behind, whether it's through mentorship, advocacy, or simply providing a ride to the next step in someone's journey. Mr. Curtis Corbins believes in the power of opportunity, resilience, and second chances. So get ready for an inspiring conversation about purpose, community, and drive to create change. Okay, so let's dive in. So, hello, Mr. Corbins.
Hello, Miss Keandra.
Here, and the shenanigans begin.
Yes.
So welcome to Strictly Business Unscripted.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So, I was wanting to have an adult conversation. However,
You had to address it like that? Okay.
So for people that are watching, Mr. Corbins and I have been friends for a very long time and have a very unique and a little playful relationship.
Very.
How long have we known each other?
Long time.
Long time.
Long time.
It's been at least a decade or so.
Oh, at least, yes.
Yeah.
10, 12 years.
Yeah, at least. And every time I see you, you are happy, upbeat, singing a song. Most of the time you've made it up. You're just the happiest person that I know. Where does that joy come from?
Just to be thankful every day I get up.
Okay.
When I know I can get up, that means God has something for me to do.
Uh-huh.
And so I just get excited. I mean, so I learn to be thankful in everything because, I've come from a long ways.
Mm-hmm.
The journey's been up and down, but now I'm just excited for life, living this life that's been created for me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to get into some of the things that you do, but we want to get to know you first. Well, we want them to be exposed to the Curtis Lee Corbins, them to have some exposure to who you are. Now, I get the pleasure of calling you on FaceTime and listening to you sing to me about nothingness.
No, it's always something.
No, it's nothingness. It's a bunch of made up words and made up Curtis words. Yes. But anyway, so my very first question for most folks that come on the show is, who are you? Outside of your accomplishments, who are you?
I'm a very, very, very simple person. I mean, someone that tries to keep things simple. Now who I am is come about because of what I've been through. I lived a part of my life after my divorce of just faking it till I make it, just trying to survive. I felt like I was in survival mode. Mm-hmm. And so I had to go through that process of healing. Mm-hmm. And once I became healed, I vowed to take my pain and help someone else gain and learn from my experiences. Mm-hmm. And that has probably brought me one of the greatest joys of who I am today. Mm-hmm. And I'm thankful, and I always like to use the phrase, thank God for creating me for such a time as this. Mm. I really believe God has created me for such a time as this to impact people's lives through what I've been through, mm-hmm. and to see people and help them, push them to their greatness. Mm-hmm. Am I perfect? No, not by a long shot. So many times people look on the outside and think everything is always rosy with me. No, it's not. But I don't like to dwell on negative situations. I want to always try to push my way through it. And so who Curtis is someone that is learning to process things now. For a long time, I would just take whatever was given to me, whatever someone threw at me. And so now I'm learning to slow down.
Hmm.
So many times every day we get up and we just get to running and running, but I'm learning to pace myself, and because of that, I've become a much more, I would say, calmer person,
Hmm.
calmer in my spirit.
Hmm.
Um, um, not. I'm also learning not to be all over the place in my
Hmm.
in my head. 2024, I found myself many days just all over the place and everything. But especially in my business. But now that my daughter's taken over and she's running day to day, it's allowed me to really focus more on self.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was grateful to hit the big 6-0 last year, and I want to make sure that I make the best of it,
Yeah.
and in that process, bring some people along with me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you touched on a lot of things uh, just a second ago, and we're going to dive a little deeper into some of those things here in a second. But one of the things I didn't really hear are what your hobbies are. What kind of hobbies do you have?
Wow. Well, I like to take care of myself physically and spiritually. Um, I enjoy watching movies. I enjoy traveling, but I don't do enough of it.
Sure.
But that is one of my big things I plan to do this year
Okay.
is get back to traveling and experience some things outside of the DFW and as far as abroad. Um, I love playing basketball.
Hmm.
Um, love getting out. I love playing softball. I love bike riding. I love spending time with my family.
Hmm.
My sisters and my mom, they visit more often now that I've finally moved into a home. They said they wouldn't come until I got into a home, but I enjoy and I love my family. I love spending time with my son and my daughter. Um, and then just and I don't know if it's a hobby or not, but I just love impacting people's lives.
Okay.
I really do. I get a kick out of just being able to sometimes see someone go from level one to level two in life.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love
Yes,
that. So you mentioned you'd like to do a little bit more traveling.
yes.
Give me one place that you would like to travel within the next 12 months.
No, it's not would like to. I plan to Dubai.
Okay.
Dubai has always been on my bucket list. Dubai and Kenya. Dubai because of my research. I find it to be very rich with resources and just uh, the kind of energy that I think I can gain from there. And then plus, I've had several friends that have gone there and have come back and talked about the wonderful experience. So Dubai is top of my bucket list.
Okay.
And like I said, Kenya, but Dubai would be that one place I plan to visit.
Love that. I love that. Okay, so in your bio, we learned that you're not originally from the Dallas area. Okay. So what brought you here from Louisiana?
Change. I
Change.
grew. I was born, raised, and grew up in Lake Charles, Louisiana. By two wonderful parents came from out of a very stable home. I mean,
Uh-huh.
we were. I was blessed with an awesome dad who taught me responsibility, who taught me how to treat women. And I
Uh-oh.
watched him.
Uh-oh.
Yes, I know
Oh,
Keandre, and we'll
Lord.
have a discussion on that
Wait
later.
a minute.
Wait a
You
minute.
shouldn't have said that. You knew that that was gonna
Yes, I knew it
you knew
was,
I was
but
going to interrupt you when you said that. How to
but
treat women.
but can I say
Don't
this?
blame your dad. No, your
No,
dad is
no, 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 and I'm not going to blame my
don't
dad.
blame your dad for
Right, but
that.
let me say this. Let me finish.
Oh
See,
Lord.
but sometimes that which you're taught, you don't always follow. And so I
Amen.
will agree. But let me say
Amen.
this: my dad gave me the tools,
Okay.
and for the most part, I was utilizing tools. But then
When did you stop?
I think
It must have been, oh, well, you said we met 12 years ago. So it must have been about at least in that little area right there
no,
that
I
we
didn't stop. I just took a pause.
always for the last 12 years.
No, well, not yeah, no. But you know what? Part of the
Mhm.
pause was because I didn't know who I was.
Understand.
I
And I'm
lost.
kidding. I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah. But and that's the thing I realized because I knew I wasn't doing right. I knew that my behavior wasn't what it's supposed to be, but I felt lost,
Sure.
and I was constantly trying to find myself, but I was
Mhm.
trying to find myself in all the wrong ways, and
Understood.
until you got to get sick and tired of being sick and tired,
Yeah. Man.
and so and you can even I was even saying, Lord bless me with, and I want to find a good woman, blah blah blah. But I knew even in my prayers, I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
said, well, you know what? I think I'll make myself be ready. You can't make yourself be ready.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
you 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 gotta back up and get ready and deal with some things, some internal things. And so that's what I had to do.
Sure.
You know, and
Sure.
2024 was a lot of retooling. Um, I've come into 2025 excited.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm at that place now, and I'm just excited moving forward. Things are, business wise, things are flowing, and so I feel like I'm in a good space in my head.
Yeah.
The latter part of 2024, it had some ups and downs, and
Sure.
I said at the end of November, I said I will not go into 2025 unstable like this.
Sure. Sure.
So
Understood.
I took all of December, and then my family was in town to kind of help me too, because I got a older sister who I love so much, and she's someone I can just. She knows me like a book, and she knows, she'll look at me in the day and I, boy, please, and she's always been like that, and
Yeah.
so she helped me see some things and bring some things out, and she made me do some thinking,
Yeah.
and so she's one of those sisters. She loves hard,
Yeah.
and she'll protect her brother, but she's also going to tell her brother, you're full of, she's one of those, and so I'm thankful for her. I mean, so she helped me to prepare myself for 2025 and beyond. So
Sure.
I feel like I'm in a good space now.
Well, I'm happy to hear that, and I was just kidding with you.
Oh, I know.
I really don't know how you. I don't know how you treat or mistreat other people, but I know how you treat me.
With
No,
love,
no, no. But so you came to the DFW Metroplex
Mhm.
because you want to change.
Something different, yes.
Something different, okay. And so what was the overall transition like from Louisiana? I mean, you guys are very different in Louisiana than us Texas. So what was that transition like? And really how did it shape your perspective even as it relates to business and otherwise?
Wow. Growing up in Louisiana, a lot of stuff was it was the traditional. I went to I went to a Catholic church, and then sometimes my dad was a Catholic, my mom was Baptist, and so I mostly went to the Catholic church, became an altar boy. My grandmother and everybody else thought I was going to be a priest, and I said, no, a priest can't get married, so that ain't me. And then when I visited my mom's church, it was one of those traditional Baptist churches. So I kind of grew up not knowing the things I know now. It's
Okay.
kind of the thing of even how to study the Word of God, and then also learning how to create a business. I didn't really have all that knowledge. I've always been a hard worker,
Mm,
and had planned on just always working for someone. But when I moved here and I met a wonderful lady, Edna Pemberton,
mm,
she began my journey towards entrepreneurship, community service,
mhm,
and things like that. And I've always loved people, but she taught me how to have a passion for people.
mhm,
And she said something that's so powerful till this day. It ain't always about you.
mm,
And I watched her.
mhm.
I watched her not just say it, but I watched her live it every day.
Yeah.
It was always her trying to, not trying, but connecting me and connecting others, and I watched how powerful it was. She's someone I always say to people, that scripture that says, two loaves and fish, and she can feed the multitude.
Mhm.
She's someone you can't say no to.
Right.
And so she also said to me, whenever someone asks you if you can do something, always say yes, and then just figure it out.
Mm.
So those are the little nuggets that I take with me, that has transitioned my mindset in business and has helped me to become the businessman and the successful businessman that I am today. She taught me, I had to learn about networking. These are things I didn't really, I didn't have access to growing up in Louisiana. My dad was a hardworking man, went to work, got up every morning, went to work. Mom, same thing. So we didn't really have anybody to watch build on a business and stuff. But once I moved here, met people like Miss Pemberton and others, it awoke a beast in me.
Sure. So you said a mouthful, and I think that the whole community of Oak Cliff loves Miss Edna
Oh
Pemberton.
yes,
Everybody knows who she is. You can't go anywhere in our community without knowing who she is,
yes,
and she has touched the lives of
yes,
hundreds of
yes.
people in our community, and will forever be indebted to her for that. But you mentioned that she ignited a passion in you to serve
Yes,
others,
yes.
specifically the disenfranchised. But that passion had to already exist. Like, I can't create something in you that wasn't already there. So where did the passion to help others come from?
Well, a passion for people is something, and to love people. Now that came from my parents. My
Okay.
parents always taught us, to love people regardless of their skin color or anything like that.
Mhm.
But to take it from loving people to going into action to helping people,
Mhm.
that came about from Edna Pemberton
Okay.
because I did not, you know me growing up, we didn't see, I mean, I wasn't around that a lot. So
Mhm.
when I got here and I met her and I watched her in action, and watching her, that's where the the passion I had for, I guess to me it was loving people, but the passion to move on that love,
Mhm.
that came about from just being around people like Edna Pemberton and watching her work. And because I grew up, I was really shy. People may not believe that, but
Yeah.
I was that guy that didn't have a lot of girlfriends growing up.
Mhm.
Actually, and I tell people all the time, my best friend had to beg his cousin to go to the prom with him. So I didn't do a lot of dating growing up. I didn't really get my first girlfriend until I was in college.
Really?
So I didn't experience that. Having girlfriends at 13, 14, talking on the phone. So I didn't experience that. So coming to Dallas, you know, things changed.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Now, you have mentioned several times that you're an entrepreneur, you're in business, but for folks that do not know, what is your business? What do you do?
We are all things transportation.
Okay.
And I like to always tell my story that I, once that entrepreneur thing kicked in, I mean, the passion for helping people first, and then the entrepreneur thing started kicking in when I came to realize after working on different jobs, I'm not cut out to work for someone else.
Okay.
And so I just decided I got to find something where I can begin to do what I enjoy doing.
Mm.
So I took my passion for helping people and utilized that to try to build some kind of a business. But um, I had a trucking business for a while, and then the big boys ran us out, and I went through a divorce. And after that, I was homeless. I had nothing. It was like in 2015, and I was parked in the mall, Redbird Mall. Had a piece of a truck that a guy let me have so I could have a place to lay my head. And Miss Pemberton's office was there, and I had lost contact with her for years. And I just started hanging out at the mall. And one day I was sitting on the stage, and she walked by, and Curtis Corbins, and we had a little small talk. She said, "Well, my office right here, And she's always been someone open arms. Hey, you're always welcome to hang out. So I just started hanging out with her,
Okay.
just trying to figure it out. I was very bitter and frustrated and all that. And one day she was talking to the mayor, Mayor Rollins at the time, and saying, "Hey, um, he said, Miss P, we got a problem in the southern sector. There's people that can't get to good paying jobs.
Hmm.
And there are companies losing people because people can't get to work on a consistent basis." And she got off the phone and looked at me and said, "Well, son, you heard the problem. I need you to go solve it."
Mm.
She didn't know I was homeless. And I walked out and I looked up and said, "Lord, what?" Because you can't tell her no.
Oh, yeah.
And so I picked up the phone and called three friends and said, "Hey, I need to borrow your SUVs, your minivans, and whatever you got." And I got in one, put my son in one, put my daughter in one, and we just started picking up people at the different train stations, and
Mm.
started taking people to jobs in McKinney and Ennis and Grand Prairie and Arlington. And then a young lady, Dr. Drew, heard about me from Miss Pemberton, and she called me and said, "Hey, Curtis, I heard the great work you're doing, taking people to work. I want to put you in the United Way boot camp class." So she grandfathered me into the class. I wasn't eligible to get in the class, but they really loved what I was doing. And then Byron Harris used to work for Channel 8. He heard about me from Mayor Rollins, and he did a ride along, did the story with Channel 8, and we just blew up from there. And then a friend of mine who's a pastor in East Texas in Palestine, he heard about me and he called. He said, "Man, I got this old 1987 15-passenger church van if you want it." Cleaned it up. I went got it, added it to my fleet, And so the fleet was growing. We was getting because the business was really growing. The need there was just we started getting calls from staffing agencies and companies saying, "Hey, we really would love to utilize your services transporting people to work." And then Wendy Burton, a real good friend of mine, also at the time she was at Community Foundation of Texas, called me and said, "Hey, the Hunt family has 7 Chevy Tahoes and they don't know what to do with them." So God was just really to me was rebranding me because I've always felt I was destined for greatness, but
Mhm.
I got off track, and I know that's why God had to get my attention. So,
Mhm.
and that's what He did during my homeless bout. Now He was bringing me back, but He said, "I'm bringing you back, but I want you to be a little more humble." And so
Mhm.
I'm as much as you may not believe it, but I'm humble to this day. Um, but and so Sealy Transportation has grown from there. Now, we started out as Sealy Transportation, but then when Dr. Drew came along and said, "Hey, I can get you some grant money," I had to create Southern Dallas Link. So that's my nonprofit.
Okay.
So the nonprofit really kind of dwarfed everything for a while. Over the last, 3 or 4 years, I realized I had to kind of rebrand and get the for profit back in the forefront. And so that's when we started getting major contracts with DART, ARP, and other places that needed medical transportation. In fact, we're currently in discussions with Methodist health systems
Mhm.
to do all of their clinics, and I'm excited about that in a couple of suburban cities that we're going to be contracting with to provide transportation for them as well. So that's how we've come about, and right now we've pretty much kind of taken over the space at the deck. We've I moved all of our operations there. That's where we park all our vehicles and everything. And we are currently having job fairs because we need to hire more drivers because of the expansion and the growth of the company. So we are all things transportation. We One of my biggest words is access.
Access
Yes,
to.
and I say that because people need access to resources necessary for them to come from what I like to call from poverty to prosperity. If people don't have access, then access to the necessary resources, whether it's access to financial literacy, whether it's access to healthy eating, any kind of access that is necessary for someone to go to that next level. So we believe we can do that, and we have been able to do that with
Mhm.
transportation, especially with our seniors being able to get to the doctor, to the grocery store, to dialysis, places that they desperately need. But
Mhm.
sometimes if you don't have access to reliable transportation, then that access is not there. So I believe in making sure that everyone has access to the resources that they need in order to take their next steps in their journey towards whether it's success, stability, or whatever it may be.
Wow. So
Did I say a lot there?
you said a lot.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I have a lot of questions, but you do a lot. And I really want to be very clear that I do admire the work that you do in the Southern sector. I
Thank you.
really, well, all over our city.
Yeah.
I really do admire what you do and the way that you do what you do because all too often serving a certain population of people, they're not necessarily in the best places or the best stages of their lives. And so a lot of times they're not happy. And when you serve or provide service or your team does, the fact that you're happy all the doggone time, that energy shifts. And so, again, when I say I love the way you do what you do, that matters. Because for someone that's not having the best of days, you need that
Oh,
energy.
most
So
yes.
I
I'm big on
appreciate
energy.
I,
Yes.
I
Yes.
appreciate that. But with what you've said, I have so many questions. Okay, some I have answers to, some I do not.
How you have answers to them?
you know, I'm trying not to get started with you, but anyway, for folks that are listening and they would like to be able to support our seniors
Yes.
in making sure that they are transported to their doctor's appointments, those kinds of things. Explain to me, number one, why that's so important and where the gap is in terms of funding for those seniors to be to get that transfer that needed transportation, and then ways in which the community can wrap its arms around you and support what you're doing.
Well, it's important for our seniors because it's when you talk to them, a lot of them feel like they're left behind.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like they're forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
And when we transport them and you talk to them, you realize. Well, one thing I always tell people, we're gonna become seniors one day,
Amen.
and so
You before
the,
me.
well, yeah, it's cool.
Just kidding.
But it's necessary because they need that access as well. They need to
Yeah.
be able to know that they have reliable transportation to get to all the resources that they need. Like I said, whether it's the doctor, the grocery store, dialysis, whatever it may be, go to
Mhm.
the bank on the first of the month.
Yeah.
And what's so sad, many of them have family members, but the family members don't take the time to
That's
do
right.
the little things like that. A lot of them, they have Medicare, but they don't have the plan that covers transportation.
Mm-hmm.
And then those that do, it only gives them maybe 2 rides a month. So if you're on
Mm-hmm.
dialysis, you got to go a minimum 12 times a month. So where do they get the other 10 from? And so there's a gap there in funding our seniors, that the seniors that they need it, they need this, they need to get over here, but because the lack of funding, it's not available.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we've done is we've created this thing called the Golden Riders campaign,
Uh-huh.
where individuals can sponsor a senior. What we call it, it's called the Edna P Golden Riders campaign,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's the Edna P senior seat. And
Mm-hmm.
we've been getting a great response from it. In fact, we're honoring her tomorrow at the deck, giving her flowers while she's still here, and a lot of people that have responded are purchasing or sponsoring an NP seat. So we're happy about that. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's one of the ways you can support it. And what an Edna PC does, it allows a senior to get 10 free rides a month,
Okay.
so that they can get to those necessary resources that they need, that they desperately need. And because a lot of times these seniors have to pick and choose between prescription or eating, transportation or eating. So with the Golden Riders campaign, it helps to eliminate one of those barriers for a lot of our seniors.
Okay. So for our listeners, I just want to make sure that they're clear about what the deck is, which is the Dallas, that's
Dallas
on
Entrepreneur Center.
Dallas Entrepreneur Center, and that's the Redbird location in
Yes,
which Miss Edna Pemberton will be honored on February. Today's the 31st.
yes, be tomorrow.
And so
The
tomorrow will
first,
be the
yes.
first, and Miss Pemberton will be honored. What time will that start?
It will be from 11 to 5.
11 to 5 is the public. Is it an open
Yes,
event?
it's yes, it is. Yes,
Okay. And also, you said that folks can sponsor these seniors and getting some rides.
yes.
Where can they go to provide that support?
They can go to goldenriders.org,
Okay.
and it'll take them directly to the site, and it'll explain a little bit to them what it's all about, what they get for their sponsorship, and it has the different options of sponsoring. And so for $250 a month, a senior gets 10 free rides. So they can click on whether they want to do a one time, annual, or whatever the case may be. So just go to goldenriders.com. And also we just took out an ad on 105.7, 105.7 and 104. Those will start running in the next week or so.
Mhm.
And with that, for everyone that sponsors, they become eligible for a free 1 year ride share, where they can get ride share services for 1 year.
That is
So they'll get a chance to win that opportunity.
that is phenomenal. Okay, so I'm loving that you're doing that. And is there a way that someone can sponsor a senior and then uh, designate what senior is sponsored?
Oh yes, they
Okay.
can.
Okay.
And let me say this, Miss. One of the things I love about Miss Jones, even though she gets on my nerves sometimes, she she did not hesitate when I asked her. In fact, she sponsored a couple of seniors, and I'm very grateful to you for that.
Absolutely.
She did it without hesitation, and I rolled my eyes and said, "Really?" But that's
I'm
who
a
she is.
fan.
You
I'm a fan of
I know.
yours.
Even though I know we have a love hate. Is that what
We
it
do.
is? Yeah.
I don't know that it's hate. That's a strong word.
But I love me some Miss Keandra Jones. She
Thank
yeah.
you. Thank you. The feeling is mutual. I really, really respect everything that you're doing because as you know, Oak Cliff Chamber has its own nonprofit where we're serving some of the same
Mm-hmm.
folks, and we're trying to get folks employed. And
Yes.
sometimes
Yes.
transportation is the biggest hurdle
Yes, it
for
is.
this particular population of folks. And that's the perfect segue. Now, you have this poverty to prosperity mentality. You know, you want to take people from where they are to the next level. And tell me if you could, and you've already told us how transportation helps in that regard, but tell me the most inspire inspired story that you've seen in which you've been able to contribute to.
Wow, I have several, but I always like to go back to one years ago, probably in our second or third year.
Hmm.
There was a single mom,
Hmm.
had three kids, 11, an 8, and a 5-year-old,
Hmm.
struggling. She had three jobs.
Hmm.
Um, and she was living in those, I call them the raunchy hotels that I wouldn't let my dog live in.
Oh
But
goodness.
she was in survival mode, just trying to have a
Sure.
roof over her people's head. And she heard about us through someone else, and she came up to the mall and said, I'm a struggling mom. I really need help. And the thing that we had was because of our services we were connected with a lot of good paying jobs.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, those jobs were not reachable because for people that didn't have transportation. So because of our transportation, companies were connecting with us, jobs paying $25 and $30 an hour.
Sure.
And so she shared her story saying, I'm working three jobs between three different restaurants. She's never home to be there with her kids. So the 11-year-old is having to play parent to her 8 and 5-year-old
Wow.
in this hotel that's surrounded by crime and everything. So it was a very crazy situation.
Mm.
Well, we were able to get her connected with
Mm.
a job making $30 an hour
Wow.
because of transportation.
Wow.
So imagine the impact that had on her life.
Wow.
From the standpoint now, she can work one job,
Hmm.
come home, and be off on the weekends. She worked 8 to 4,
Love that.
home in time enough by the time our kids get home from school.
Yeah.
Not only that, we were able to provide the transportation. This lady was walking her kids to school before she went to work.
Wow.
Well, now that she connected with us, we were able to take her kids to school, pick them up from after school,
Mhm.
and get them home after. And it worked perfectly because one set of our drivers was bringing her home from work, and then someone else was picking the kids up from school.
Mhm.
So they were always getting home just in time. So an 11-year-old, 8-year-old, and a 5-year-old were never left at home anymore.
Oh wow.
Which happens so many times, but you know when you're in that survival mode, you got to do what you have to do. So
Amen.
who are we to judge?
Yeah.
And so she was able to get this nice paying job. It changed her life forever because, like I said, now she's able to be a mom to her children.
Mhm.
Now she's able to go and grocery shop and do things for her children.
Mhm.
Then we were able to help her get out of that hotel and help her
Mhm.
get into a nice apartment.
Uh-huh.
Then she was able to purchase her own vehicle,
Right.
and so now she's on that journey. She took some financial literacy classes, learning how to save, learning how to have a bank account, and everything. And so now then she was able to learn how to save because she's making good money now.
Yeah.
And then so it's like everything is flowing. And then one of the things we always did and we do now, when people that we connect with good paying jobs are able to get their own vehicles,
Mhm.
they can come back on the weekends or work on a part-time basis using their vehicle to help us with our overflow.
I love that.
So that's part of the program. That's what we tell them, that hey, because we're growing so fast, and so we need them.
Yeah.
And it's also an opportunity for them to make extra money.
Yeah.
So she would help out on the weekends sometime and stuff like that. 2 years ago, she went through this program and she purchased her first home.
Wow.
I mean, imagine she went from poverty to prosperity, all because there was a system in place and
Yeah.
she had access.
Yeah.
She had access to resources necessary to help her in her journey from poverty to prosperity.
Oh my goodness, I love that. So, sometimes when we're serving this particular population, you see all kinds of things. You
Hmm.
see folks that want it, and you see a lot of people that really don't, but they say they do.
Right.
What is something that you saw in this individual that you're speaking about that you didn't see in some of the other ones?
Her grit,
Mm,
her fight.
yeah.
Um, she just when she came to our office, you can tell she was tired.
Yeah.
She was tired,
Yeah.
and you could feel it,
Mhm. Mhm.
but you could hear her crying out.
Yeah.
But I also saw her determination.
Yeah.
And when she sits there and listen, when you listen to her, I said, "This is a warrior,"
Mhm. Mhm.
you know. And she would always say, "I have no choice.
Yeah.
I got 11, an 8, and a 5."
Mm.
That's like she said, "I got 11, an 8, and a 5."
Yeah.
And so she always said, she said, "If I ever quit, Curtis, then what happens to them?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes a big difference, and you wanna help those kinds of
Oh
people. You
yes,
wanna give them everything you got when you see that they're actually interested in changing their lives, not for themselves, but for the kids they're
exactly.
responsible for, and so kudos to you for helping that family, and you changed the entire trajectory for not only her, but her kids,
Yes, yes.
and so that's so phenomenal, and again, I am a fan of the work that you do.
You're not a fan of me, just the work
No,
I
no,
do.
no, the work that you do. Let me be very, very clear. It's the work that you do, sir.
Oh,
Now, recently, you celebrated the launch of an app,
yes.
and I remember how giddy you were. And I,
Me giddy?
oh my God. Let me roll my eyes. So doggone giddy. And I would have been too. That's something to
Oh
celebrate.
my yes.
Talk to us about that app, what it does, and how give us all the things about the app, the 411.
The app to me is it's allowed us to expand what we do in a much quicker way and a much more economical way for a
Mhm,
lot of the people that need rideshare.
mhm,
Um, I've always been trying to figure out how do I expand what I'm doing
mm,
and make it reasonable for people to get around because a lot of people were complaining about the other rideshare service, how expensive it was. A
mhm,
lot of them even talks about the safety issues and things like
mhm,
that. So
mhm,
my thing was, I said, well, I want to create a rideshare. I want to just take what I'm already doing and
mm,
just expand it
mhm,
and expand into the rideshare world. And
mhm,
so that's when I began working on an app.
mhm,
And so this and it has allowed us since we've launched it to provide rideshare service in a much which is called See Lee Cheaper Rides. It's much cheaper. It's very safe. We
mhm,
have what we call road supervisors that are out monitoring the drivers, and then let's say if we have something come up, those supervisors can get to get to wherever that driver is to try to find out what is going on. And so we want to make sure we provide a safe space. We also try to make sure, and we're not always successful with it, but there are some women that are not comfortable with riding with a male driver, and we
yeah,
understand that. I
sure.
mean, and so we try to make sure that we give them a female driver.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we don't have enough female drivers to always accommodate, but we're always making sure that the customer feels comfortable when they
Right.
are getting into our cars. I tell all of my male drivers and I have a very no tolerance for the foolishness that always maintain a professional standard when you
That's
are
right.
not just the customers but our female customers, our
Mhm,
lady customers.
mhm,
There's to be no fraternizing or anything
mhm.
of a sort, and they know that there's not. It's not. You're not getting written up. You're getting fired.
You know what, Curtis? Now, I think the only one of the few times that I've seen you really serious, other than in this moment, was in a moment that um, that you had to enforce that.
Yes.
And I had so much more respect for you because even the mere thought of there being an occurrence, and I don't even know that there was, but even the thought of there being an occurrence like that let me know how serious you are about protecting your customers. And that mean, especially as a woman,
Hmm.
that means the world to me because I know that I can trust my daughter
Hmm.
or
My
my
mother or
family,
whatever.
yeah,
Sister. Yeah.
with you because I know that you have a zero tolerance
And
for
and
that.
and part of that is just women in general. And I know you may roll your eyes at this, but
Mhm.
to me, women are a gift from God. Now, yes, okay, but I'm very protective of women.
I can see that.
And part of that comes from my dad.
Okay.
My dad, when I tell you, when I tell you he believed that women are a gift from God,
Yeah.
and he raised his three sons to say, and he even told his future son-in-laws that if you ever hit a woman other or touch a woman other than in a loving way, I will break your hand.
Oh.
My dad was, and we don't know till this day what if something happened. But my dad has always been protecting women. In fact, when he was a police officer, they had to stop letting him go in domestic violence cases
Mm.
because the first thing he does when he gets to the house is just beat the man up.
Oh goodness.
Yeah,
Oh
because
gracious.
he said any man that puts his hands on a woman deserves. He would say get his kick. It was something, and we don't know what that was, and like my brother even, unfortunately, he hit his wife,
Oh
and my dad
goodness.
literally broke his hand. My dad believed in you don't touch women other than lovingly, and so he just always instilled that in us. Because of course we never saw him hit my mom,
Yeah.
and even my brother-in-law, he hit my sister, and it just it was something in him. So part of me grew up knowing that women are a gift from God. I've never ever hit a woman,
Mhm. Mhm.
because of my dad, but just because that's just the way I am. I just and so and when it comes to anything as it relates to women, I'm very protective, especially if I'm providing a service
Yeah.
to women. Your protection is my priority.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I legitimate, and I'm kidding when I've seen you be respectful. You just with me, I don't know what it is. You may not hit a woman, but you make me want to hit you. You do. You are like that annoying little brother.
Am I annoying?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like to the fifth power, you really are. And I don't know if you're like that with everybody. Yeah, you are actually. You are. I've
But
seen.
you hold a special place with me. So
That's how you treat
yeah,
people that are special to you.
yeah. But
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
you have a special place.
Uh-huh.
Our friendship is it's kind of crazy. But
Yeah.
yeah,
It's pretty
you know,
crazy.
there are very few people that get on my nerves, but I still love them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I know I get on your nerves
You
too,
do.
but it's all good.
As a matter of fact, you do. But anyway, getting back, let's talk about you. Um, so we serve, as I've mentioned before, a population of individuals that need services, resources. They're, in our case, 80% below the poverty line. What are some of the biggest challenges that you've seen in serving this population of people? Other than transportation, we know that to be a challenge. What are some other challenges that you've seen?
Mindset.
That's where I wanted you to go. I didn't know if you were gonna go there.
Oh,
Let's talk
number
about that.
one, you you got to change their mindset to get them. They got to see what you see,
Mm,
and until they see what you see, they don't think there's a problem.
that's right.
It's,
Yeah.
it's just like a drug addict until he comes to admit, "Hi, I'm a drug addict."
Yeah.
And so sometimes that takes being consistent, persistent, and getting through the resistance. It's like I like to call it.
Ooh.
And so a lot of them resist. You know, some of the smallest things, such as learning how to save money,
Mm,
learning how not to walk around with your money in your pocket. 'Cause a lot of them, the first thing they want to do is cash their check and put the money in their pocket, or go put it on one of these um, uh, payday cash cards or whatever, not realizing they're losing
yeah.
because of the choice. They don't think about it. And so you just consistently just share with them and just show them. And then when they ask you questions, you just be honest with them. And
Yeah.
so they see me as a successful businessman, and so they'll tend to ask questions. Mr. Cook, how you do this? How you do that?
Hmm.
And I see that as a teaching moment.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest barrier coming out the gate is getting them to flip the switch
Hmm.
and change their mindset.
Hmm. So that is a huge obstacle for us, is developing that healthy,
Wealthy
wealthy mindset.
mindset. Yeah.
That healthy, wealthy mindset. It is a big, big challenge because a poverty mindset supersedes the situation that they're in.
Yes, it does.
People don't understand that. A lot of these individuals don't understand that yeah, you can not have money, but your mindset can keep you there or will
Yes.
keep you there.
Yes.
There's a difference between the two. So a poverty mindset definitely is a huge challenge. So what do you do? I know that these individuals are they feel very comfortable with you because your energy is good. You're going to talk to them and mentor them. What does a mentorship? Do you have a program of sorts, or is there mentorship in place to help these individuals come out of that mindset?
Yeah, and I have several friends from church and other parts of the community that will come in and help mentor the men and women. Of course, men on men, women on women. And so it's a matter of first of all getting them to trust us, because once you can get them to trust you, then you can begin to change their mindset.
That's right.
Because and the good thing for me is I'm in a position where they see it.
Yeah.
They see, because a lot of them mindset is I'm a black man, I'm a black woman. I mean, society don't care about me, and but they look at me. Okay, there's this successful black man that's doing things, and not only that, he cares.
Yeah.
And so I have an advantage in being an example of what can happen with hard work, and that's what I preach to them. I say, and I tell them that nothing was handed to me,
Huh.
and then I give them my story that, hey, I was homeless.
Yeah.
I lost everything.
Yeah.
And so, and when I tell a lot of them that, they say, no freaking way, Mr. Curtis, I don't see it. And, and I say, yeah, I said, I was homeless. I slept in an old beat up truck for a while. And so I said, that's why part of me will never judge you, because I know what it's like to look on the ground and see a quarter and think that's a dollar. So learning to just love on them and let them feel and see your passion and your compassion for them, and doing things that they don't expect. I mean, like, there's been times where, some of them they hadn't got their first check, and they don't have any place to stay. So I put them up in a hotel. So sometimes doing those little things, it shocks their,
Yeah.
oh wow. And then when they get paid, they're trying to pay me back. I said, no, this is an investment.
Yeah.
So doing things that are unusual and abnormal for them,
Yeah.
helps them to break down the walls and say, he gets it. He's real. So sometimes you got to do the extraordinary,
Yeah.
for ordinary people.
Well, and I think that you said something key just a little while ago. Getting them to trust you is huge, and how you are doing that is because you're so relatable. You're so down to earth. You are approachable, and that matters.
Y'all heard her say that.
I said I love the work you do. Doggone it. That does matter, that you're so relatable. And a lot of times I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that people who don't get it come into our neighborhoods trying to throw in these programs and wonder why they fail. It's because they're not relatable.
Boy,
If
yeah.
and so,
Come on.
trying to check a box because they're providing service for the brown and black community and wonder why these programs are not working. And we ain't saying no names at all. I'm not.
I'm not either.
You say what you want to, but I think that is some of the secret to your success, because you are relatable, you are approachable. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I agree wholeheartedly. In fact, I see it, especially around Thanksgiving and Christmas. Come get those photo ops.
Boy, I can't stand it. I
I hate it.
cringe.
I hate it, and I see it. Even one of the things we do is we do these bus tours with Dallas Regional Chamber, and we bring a lot of them over to the southern sector, and it's like they like deer in the headlight, because a lot of them, well, not a lot of them, but some of them moved from other states. They move here, and they're told, whatever you do, don't ever go south of the Trinity.
That's right.
There's nothing good happening over there. But when they get on this bus and we bring them across the Trinity, and we'll even ask the question, let us know how many good grocery stores you see. And by the time we're halfway done, well, there's a quality grocery store.
Right.
And they say, well, none. So and then we get to show them some of the productivity that's going on, of course, with the production of or what Peter's doing at the mall. There are different programs that we'll stop by and let them see there are a lot of great things happening in the South. It's not the stigma that you hear or you see on the news. That's that old saying, if it bleeds, it reads, and all that. And then so some of them come away with realizing, wow, this is not what I was told. So, but then like I said, sometimes Thanksgiving, Christmas, It's we're gonna go and feed the little children. We're gonna buy them a bike and buy the little girl with a little Barbie doll. And I've even seen it so crazy as I don't know what it is about some of them. They are enamored by a black woman's hair.
Listen, sir.
They let me tell you, there was this one single mom. That day she came for a toy giveaway. She had a natural afro, and she had a little girl, and her little girl had some ponytails, and this white woman walked up to, gave her a hug, and when she gave her a hug, she did this,
Oh, goodness.
and the young lady said, before she knew it, the mom said, "What the f are you doing?"
Jesus.
I don't know what it is about them. They are enamored. It's like it. I don't know if it's something they see on TV that just mesmerizes them, but they are mesmerized by a black woman's hair, and they want to touch it, and then like they was wanting to touch the little girl's hair,
Oh.
and I said, what is it about a black woman's hair that just I don't know, it just like it freaks them out. I don't know if it freaks them out or what. I don't know what it is till this day. I don't understand it.
As a black woman, please don't touch our hair.
They don't understand that though.
Please do not touch it. I can't stand. I think for me, and I know that this has nothing to do with kind of your business and all of that, but for me as a black woman, it feels like I'm being petted.
Mm,
And it's condescending. So
mm.
when I take all of this out and I go, because I am natural under this, and when I'm looking like a Q-tip, I don't want nobody touching my head, and it feels
Yeah. Oh yeah.
pet you're petting me. Don't pet me. Don't touch my hair. So anyway, if you do that, please stop it immediately because we don't appreciate it. But anyway, getting back to you, um, why would you go there?
I don't know.
You
It
don't
just
go there. Don't do that because
okay.
I really try not to act up on here.
Why not?
I try not to act
Why
up.
not? We know how we do it.
Yeah, I don't like that. I cannot stand that. In the photo ops that you just mentioned, I can't stand that
Yeah.
either. I think that we all in the community that are in these spaces, we know that 'tis the season for the photo ops. You even know that there are certain funders that provide funding for these
Yes. Yeah.
communities, and based on the criteria, sometimes the unrealistic criteria that they're putting on the funding lets you know that they have no
No,
idea
not a clue.
about the population of people that
That's
we're
right.
serving.
That's right. They have no clue other than what they read or Google.
Absolutely. And I don't want to delve too far. I don't want to go down that
I
rabbit
understand.
hole,
I
but it,
understand.
it is
It is what it
frustrating.
is.
It
It
is
is.
very, very
It's reality.
frustrating.
Yeah.
And I would, and you could probably speak on this a lot better than me, but those that are offering monies up to these populations, we do appreciate the dollars. I would really love for those funders to come out and actually
Yeah. Yes.
understand what a poverty mindset is,
Because they don't have a clue.
because you can't move from poverty to what's your saying, poverty
Positive prosperity.
in 8 weeks.
Well, not only that, the when it comes to understanding what poverty is, I had one ask me one question one day. Why don't they just get a job?
That drives me bonkers.
I said, and every time they said, there's a book out that a guy wrote that's that title, and that book helped me to better serve who I serve because I saw it, and when I first started doing this, where we were getting them these good paying jobs, and they were quitting. They would after they get their first check and all that, and I'm saying something we're not doing right, and so we came to discover it's not enough just to get a job. If you're dealing with mental health, if you are lacking healthy eating, if you are lacking financial literacy, if you are lacking the basic tools of living. And so it's more than just getting them a job. So then what we had to do is we had to not only get them a job, we had to assess them and say, okay, we want to get you connected with a program that will help you with housing. We want to get you connected with a program that's going to help you with healthy eating. We're going to get you connected with a program that's going to give you
Right.
financial literacy.
Yeah.
And so once we're able to give them the wraparound
Right.
services,
Right. Right.
their ability to hold on to a job. We had a mom that we was taking to work. She had to wind up quitting because she left her kids at home by herself.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And she could no longer do it. So
Yeah.
we had to get her daycare.
Right.
So it's things like, so it's not enough just to get them a job.
And when people say that, you understand that they
Oh,
do not get it. They do not get it, because it's more than getting a job. And I know that that's not what this conversation is supposed to be. So I'm gonna get back on track. Don't get me off track.
hey,
Don't get me off track. But yes, I wish that more people really understood. And what happens is, you understand because you've been there.
yes,
I understand because I've
yes,
been there.
yes,
I
yes.
understand having to leave my very young child at home by herself because I was a single parent and didn't have resources, but still had to go to work. I get that. So that's what makes you so fit for doing what you do. And again, I appreciate the work that you do. Talk to me, if you would, about some business challenges that you've faced. If someone out there, generally speaking, is interested in just being an entrepreneur. Now, we know that God has prepared you for this business that you're in, but for someone who's watching that may not be interested in doing what you do, but from an entrepreneurial standpoint, I can't say that word, standpoint, what are some steps that they need to consider if they're getting ready to be an entrepreneur? I'll stop there. What are some steps that they need to consider?
First, make sure you understand what you're about to get into,
Mm,
because it can be like a war zone sometimes,
mm,
because of the challenges you face, because of the no's you're going to get.
mhm.
Now, I was fortunate when I got back going, I had an Edna Pemberton.
Yeah.
Networking is so important
Yes.
to your success.
Yeah.
You can have the best product in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a product that you think highly of, but if you don't know anybody,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
then you just got a great product that's sitting on the shelf.
Yeah.
That's sitting on your shelf at home, not
Yeah.
on the store shelf. And so it's about networking, and it's about um, um, promoting. You got to get and promote yourself. You got to work the room. You got to, it's like a sales job.
Yeah.
You got to get people to, first of all, know who you are,
Mhm.
and then and be able to believe in your product. And so, but for those that don't have that, some of the challenges is being able to get in the door
Mhm.
of a place that you want to do business with, and not just stop by and leave your card with the secretary that's probably 10 people away from the decision maker.
Mhm.
And so and then of course the almighty lack of access to capital.
Hmm.
Once again, I was fortunate because of people I knew,
Mhm.
and of course people and then people believing in me. But sometimes for many, it's the lack of access to capital. But I'd say this to anybody, and I'm living proof of it:
Mm.
follow your passion, and the money will follow.
You would not believe how many business owners sit in that chair and say the exact same thing.
Yeah, it's true. I
Yeah.
mean, we are just now getting into marketing.
Mhm.
I just hired a social media person. I just brought on a marketing person. But before that, it was word of mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
When people see your passion, that's why a Dr. Drew got me in the United Way. She saw my passion. That's why Byron Harris did a news story on me. That's why people began to support what I was doing, because they saw my passion. They saw how I was doing stuff beyond the call of duty.
Mhm.
They saw the fact that me, the owner, is getting up at 4:30 in the morning, heading to the Ledbetter station to pick up people.
Uh-huh.
They thought, who does that?
Right.
But it's because I love what I do. It's not about just giving a show. Okay, driver here, driver there. You get over here. Well, now though, I delegate. I mean, now, like I said, my daughter runs day to day. So, but what that does for me, it frees me up to continue to go out and network and build the brand and build a dynasty. But some of the challenges that many of them face, because they said when they come, and they said, man, I just can't get a bank to give me access to capital.
Yeah.
But let me say something about that. You got to have your stuff together, though.
That's right. Amen.
You can't just think you're going to walk in a bank with your financial information in a spiral notebook.
That's right.
No, you got to have a reputable accountant that takes and puts your stuff in the proper perspective. If it's a thing where you're lacking credit, let's work on that. So you got to be able to overcome those. And if you're not ready, let someone help you get ready. Doesn't mean it's the end of the world.
Right.
But be willing to have and sometimes the biggest barrier is yourself.
Most of the time.
Yes.
That's the biggest
You
barrier.
in your worst enemy. You're in your own way to
Yeah.
success.
Yeah.
And some
That's
people
right.
don't understand. Heck, I
That's right.
think I was in my way for a little bit
Yeah.
because of my mindset of thinking, I got this.
Right.
No, I didn't have it.
Sure.
And as much people may not believe it, sometimes I find myself, I can be one of the most stubbornest guys. Some people may not believe that.
Who wouldn't believe that?
I mean, some people wouldn't believe that.
They,
But
I don't know how not. That
I
means they don't know you at all.
well, yeah. But you got to learn to put your pride to the side.
Yeah, that's right.
And be willing to allow people and be willing to be teachable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's good stuff.
I'm learning to be teachable and learning to listen more this year, Keandra. Yes, I am. I'm learning. I'm open to listening. Yes,
Oh my God.
God is good.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is we are going to clip that part of this and I'm going to save it in my phone and I'm just going to send it to you
Why would you
when
do
you're
that?
not listening.
Why would you do that?
But that's what we're going to do. I'm just going to send it to you when you're not listening, okay? All right. So just know that was recorded and I'm going to send it to you when you ain't listening.
Father,
Yeah, go and talk to him. Go and talk to him.
I digress.
Okay, so we have talked about who you are, what your hobbies are, how you got into business, who's helped you in business, some of the challenges that are out there, and how you're still standing, all the things. Now, so we've gotten to know a little bit about you. It has become our custom that after we get to know you a little bit, that you ask me one question. And I'm I'm treading lightly here a little bit. I'm a little afraid to even give you this opportunity, but you can ask me whatever you would like to know. I'm so scared. Ask me one question, Curtis.
Wow. No, but in all seriousness,
Uh-huh.
I don't know if it's a question, but and I've told you this before. In all my years of knowing you, um, you have it.
What does that mean?
You get it
Oh.
as far as just um, assessing and seeing the needs of the community and being willing to step out there and help be a part of the solution. You know, even in a lot of times in our conversation, just even when we came up with the idea of healthy, wealthy mindset,
Yeah.
when I mean, I tried stealing that so many times because it's a powerful statement,
Mhm.
healthy, wealthy mindset. And when you said it the first time, I wasn't surprised that it came from you because of your passion
Thank you.
for the same population I serve.
Yeah.
And you talked about how, and so like I said, I don't know if it's a question or not, but I'll ask it on a question. What is it that makes you get up every day as early as you do
Mhm.
and do what you do and do it so effortlessly? And I know you do it so effortlessly because it's a gift.
Thank
And I
you.
tell people that's when you know what your gift is, when you can do it effortlessly. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, and you'll do it without pay. But what is it that makes you? Because I mean, there's been times it's 5 o'clock in the morning. You're already in the office.
Mhm.
That's not normal. And you're giddy. You're ready to go. I mean, and you're talking about your day, and I love that because to me, I'm big about people's energy. So
That matters.
what what and I'm not saying nobody's perfect,
Mhm.
but sometimes I say, wow, she gets it, and you love what you do. So what is it that, or what does that come from, and what drives that part of Keandra?
I appreciate that question. Thank you, Curtis.
As much as you I I admire you to the fullest
Thank you.
because that's one of the reasons why.
I appreciate that more than you know because our relationship is just so
That.
That's whatever it is, whatever that is, the rolling of the eyes and the gut punches, so I don't know that we say kind words to each other.
Never. You never say,
Now, I talk about you behind your back.
No, you don't. You
Yes,
talk
I
about
do.
in front of me.
Well, I talk bad about you to you, but behind your back, I talk very well. I speak very well of you behind your back
So why can't you talk well of me in front of me?
because your head will swell.
Oh,
So
okay.
anyway, let me answer the question. Because your head already big. We don't want, you can't get through the door.
Well, I had to push my way through.
Yeah. That's why I don't tell you to your face. But just like you, we have a story. I was young, pregnant, teenager, had to do it by myself, struggled, and God has been so amazingly good to me that if I didn't approach each day with gratitude and with a desire to pay it forward,
Yes.
then I would be I would be wasted space. And so I do try to approach. Now I'm not perfect at it. Try to approach each day.
You are perfect. Perfectly imperfect.
Perfectly imperfect. Thank you. With gratitude and knowing that people have been kind and forgiving, and they've mentored me, and they've done all of those things that some of the people that we're serving desire to have. And so I've had some amazing mentors. My predecessor, Bob Stimson, just so many. I don't want to start calling a bunch of names, but I've had some amazing opportunities and I don't take them for granted. And so if I can be even a portion of what I've been given, then I think that I will have fulfilled some of my purpose by being here. So I do appreciate that question. But I do get weary.
Oh, I do. Yes, Lord. I mean, that's just human. That's the flesh. That's human nature.
Yeah.
Yes. So I mean, if you were to say, like you keep saying, yes, I'm happy, but I have my days.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I have a home I can go to that's empty.
Yeah. Listen.
Yeah.
That part. That's a whole nother episode because let me tell you, my safe space
Yes.
is my house and it has to be peaceful.
Yes. And no one will contaminate it.
That's right.
Yes. So yeah.
There's so much chaos in this world that it is not allowed in my home.
Amen.
So with that, thank you so much for being here, Mr. Corbins. And thank you for behaving mostly. I appreciate that.
Oh, my behavior was pretty good.
It was good today. It was,
to your standards?
Yeah, it was pretty good. So I appreciate
This
that.
I'm always like this.
That is not true.
Yeah.
Jesus is watching. I'm your host, Keandra Jones. And again, thank you for watching another episode of Strictly Business Unscripted. We'll see you next time.